Welcome everyone, welcome to the first live session of 2021. Congrats for making it this far. I hope you've had a good Christmas and holiday break and are raring to get stuck into 2021. I know I am absolutely, I cannot wait to get stuck in. I think this is going to be another fascinating, interesting year full of opportunities and challenges to help us become stronger. Let us know in the chat window where you're watching from, whether you're by the side of a river, probably not with this weather, or what country you're in. Also, don't forget at any point you can submit your website if you would like it to be analysed during the session. Just drop it in the chat window. You might need to remove the dots. So if you want to submit exposureninja.com, for example, you wouldn't, but if you did, then you would put exposureninja space com. That just means that the chat systems don't flag you for being a spammer. So we're live across Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn today. So you can drop any questions that you like in the chat window, and I will do my best to answer them. We've got people from Nottingham. Welcome, Jordan from Nottingham. Lincoln, rainy Lincoln. Grace, yeah, it's pretty. I'm gonna say it's pretty grim in Nottingham as well. My little boy, he's almost 3, and we stepped out of the front door this morning to take him to nursery, and he said, "Oh, Daddy, it's froggy today." So to explain the difference between frog and fog. Okay, so there's 3 things that we're going to be doing today. I wanted to make this a bit of a 2021 strategy session, if you like. So the focus of today is not going to be so much on some of the smaller tactical things. It's going to be on big picture digital marketing strategy. So I wanted to take you through a process which is essentially a condensed version of what we do for clients here at Exposure Ninja that you can use yourself. Some of you may have used a version of this process if you've been following us for a while, but I just wanted to talk it through and explain like some of the kind of big building block processes for a year's digital marketing strategy and how you might start prioritizing. Oh, Tim's joining us from Henley-on-Thames, lovely. And we've also got Hamza. Hey Hamza, hope you are well. Gary from Ormskirk, no idea where that is, Gary. Can't work out if it sounds Scottish or Manon says, what to do when you're in the wedding industry and no one is getting married? Good question, Manon. So do feel free to drop in your digital marketing questions and then we'll do some questions as well. So first thing that I wanted to do is take you through the kind of planning process and the prioritization process and give you a kind of framework that you can use to prioritize, because I do know that the more of these you watch, the bigger your mental to-do list or your physical to-do list, if you're an organized person, will get. And you will start to see all of these amazing things that you need to do with your website, you need to do with your digital marketing, and it can become completely overwhelming, particularly if you're a marketing manager. You've got ideas coming in from all sorts of places, sales team suggesting stuff, your boss suggesting stuff, and you're like, great, that's good, we haven't covered the basics yet, just let me be. So I'm going to share a prioritization thing as well. Another thing that we're going to do is we've got some sites that have been submitted. As always, lots of people send us their sites to review for these sessions. So we've got some sites that we've picked out which are at various stages of the prioritization process. So it's tying in nicely there. And then we've also had some really great questions as well that have been sent over, so I wanted to answer some of those too, because particularly they cover businesses which maybe aren't the usual sort of thing that we would be looking at in these sessions. So we've really got 3 things to do today. Welcome, Imagery from Germany. I am so desperately keen to get to. We watched a program about food in Austria, and some of my favorite food in the world is from Austria, and I can't wait to get back. German food, not too shabby either. Oh, Gary, it's in Lancashire. Great. Okay, great. So firstly, we're going to go through this kind of marketing planning strategy process. So what I'm going to do is just share my screen with you. And by the way, you can download this exact process that we're going to go through. So let me just share the link for that. What we've done is we've put together, it's essentially a video course, really. So if you go to, and I'm just going to show you how to do it. So if you go to exposureninja.com/90, this is called the 90-minute marketing master plan. And like I say, it's basically a condensed version of what we do for clients. So during the first stage of a campaign plan, we will go through a process which analyzes where the business is at and prioritizes the digital marketing. So you can use exactly this. There's a video course that sits alongside it, which talks through the elements. And Being 90-minute marketing master plan, it's designed to take 90 minutes. It's designed to take 90 minutes. You can either do it in one go or you can split it up. It's basically 5 sections, which are 18 minutes long. So you can do it in one go if you're super overachiever, or you can do a bit every day. So I'm just going to talk it through because I think the process is basically exactly how I would suggest structuring your plans for this year. Now, before we talk through the specifics of the process, here's how most people look at digital marketing, and here's how most people set their goals. They will identify a goal for the end of the year. Let's say that we want to increase our website conversions by 20% each month, right? So by the end of the year, we want to be 20% up year on year, or maybe we want to double if we're just starting, whatever. So therefore, they'll look straight for traffic strategies, and they'll go straight to how much more traffic can we drive at the site. And if they're in a real hurry, they'll go for a paid channel like pay-per-click, Google ads, or they'll look at LinkedIn ads or Facebook ads or Instagram ads. And everybody thinks the assumption is, if I need to grow my business, I just need more people. I need more people coming in. Sometimes that's absolutely right. If you've got a proven offer, your proven position in the marketplace, you know your USPs, you know that they're compelling, then that can be a great thing. You basically just want to crank up the handle, put more sausage meat in the machine, and out come more sausages. But sometimes there are other tweaks that need to be done first. So the first stage in the digital marketing master plan, the 90-minute marketing master plan, is what we call taking stock. So in this taking stock process, it asks you a bit about your goals. So we set 12-month goals. So these are the goals for the end of the year, obviously. And then you've got 3-month milestones, which are basically where do we need to be in 3 months in order to know that we're on track to hit our 12-month goals. This is the exact process that we take with clients, by the way. We then ask some questions about your business. So this isn't for us because you're downloading this, you're doing this yourself. This is for you. And this is for you to get yourself clear on what is the tone of voice for your company. If you had to describe your company, is it friendly, knowledgeable, reliable? Is it offbeat, humorous, outrageous? What are the words that describe your company? And for many people, they've never really thought of this before. So this can actually take a lot longer than some of the other more technical stuff, which, there are right and wrong answers, because this you kind of need to think about a bit. So it's getting consultancy calls in all of 2020. It's just not something that I have the time to do anymore. But every time I do one, I'm really glad that I did. And I just wanted to tell you a quick story about this target audience thing, which illustrates how important understanding your target market can be. So talking to a consultancy client, and they've got a very successful business, and they splintered out a kind of side project business which they wanted to mass market, basically. So the initial business was quite niche focused, and they wanted another version which was much more mass appeal. So they did this, and they launched it, and it was successful. And during the course of the consultancy that I was having with them, I started asking some questions about target audience, and eventually it got to the stage where we both kind of knew the deal. They didn't really know who actually was signing up and buying from this new business. They actually didn't know. They hadn't done the research. They just got some leads through Facebook ads, and that was great, but we didn't really know who it was. So what we did is we worked through a phone script that they could use to talk to the people who'd bought from them on the phone to identify, who are you? What about our offering attracted you to us? What's your situation in life? What sorts of things do you really value about what we're doing? Basically, trying to figure out these things, what made these people buy from us, and who really are they? And I always like the business owner or the marketing manager to do this stuff themselves, because you can't beat actually talking to these people and then being able to bounce ideas off a virtual image of these people in your head. Didn't want to do that, so ended up sending it to a phone team, which is fine. Anyway, the data comes back from the phone team, and they've got all the answers to these questions, and it was amazing. We thought that there'd be a really broad spectrum of people, right? Because this was a mass market thing. Turns out the audience is basically one person. Well, actually, rather, there's two people. There's this one target customer, and then there's the children of the target customer buying them for the target customer. So we ended up calling this target customer, I think, Mandy, because no joke, like 2 of the 10 people we talked to were actually called Mandy, and Mandy was a very sort of in the ballpark name of what their customer was. And Mandy had all these same interests, lived in the same sort of place, valued the same things about the business. Absolutely, like their business was this one person. Now think about what that does from a marketing perspective, because they've been treating this as a mass market product, which is of interest to everyone. And actually, this resonates massively with Mandy's and children of Mandy's who are buying them for Mandy. Okay, so this simplifies their marketing immensely because they don't have to talk to everyone, they only have to talk to Mandy. But still, many businesses, they don't really know, or they don't know, particularly if you're in marketing and the sales team are the ones who talk to the customers, and you can't have that virtual discussion with your customers. That can be really important. Okay, so that's day 1, is just taking stock, understanding and setting goals. The next day is about conversion rate optimization, the performance and effectiveness of the website. So there's a checklist in here that you can go through to say whether you've passed or failed or what needs work, and you can note down improvements to make. Now, as you're going through this, remember, you're not making any of these changes live. This isn't you have to do all these things every single day. Everything that you identify, which you're like, right, we need to do that, goes into this tab here, the to-do list. And then on day 5, we work through a prioritization structure for this. And by the way, if you're just tuning in, go to exposureninja.com/90 and download the 90-minute marketing master plan completely free of charge. It's a free course that we've built to share with you, and you can use it to set your digital marketing priorities for the year. Day 3, hey Bethlehem, hey Brendan. Day 3 is all about optimization of your website to help it increase its rankings. And there's a checklist that you can go through as well. There are videos which talk through all of these elements as well for you. And there's also some competitor analysis that you can do. And then there's also a content planner. So this is where you can schedule the blogs and the social media content that you're putting together. In day 4, it's all about paid traffic. So prioritizing your paid traffic channels, working out which channels should be optimal, which should be your top priority, which should maybe second priority. And there's a CPA calculator, which helps you work out what your max cost per acquisition should be on average for all of the products or services that you sell, which is your kind of your threshold, your benchmark when you're running paid traffic. So you know what your max CPA should be. And there's also a social media calendar that you can use as well. So this is all completely free of charge. Go to exposureninja.com/90. There's nothing to sell. There's no, this isn't like then we're going to sell you into a mastermind or anything like that. It's just completely free, useful tool that you might find beneficial. And then in the final day, what we do is talk through a prioritization process that you can use, because you're going to come up with loads of things that you want to do this year. And you're not going to be able to do all of them immediately. Right? If you're like me, to-do lists only ever get longer. They never get shorter. So it's really important that you have a process for putting new ideas into a prioritized list so that when stuff comes up, you're not distracted from the stuff that you need to do right now. So this talks you through how you can prioritize. And then when your sales team or when your boss gives you more marketing stuff to do, you can say, great, thank you so much. I'll put it in the prioritized to-do list. By the way, happy to share that with you if you like, so they can see it's on your list, but it's not something that you're doing right now. So feel free to go and grab that. And I hope that is useful for you. That is the 90-minute marketing master plan. And that will help you plan out your marketing priorities for the year. But really this process that we're talking about. So the first step is this taking stock, working out where your business sits. So I've got some sites that have been submitted, which I wanted to run through, just so we can talk about some of this stuff. And if you've got any questions about the marketing master plan or anything about planning your digital marketing priorities for the year, do pop them in the comments. But then I want to show you some sites that sit at various stages of this process, and we can talk about some of the priorities for them. Before we do that, I just wanted to address a question that Manon asked earlier, which was, if we are selling to, what do we do if we're in the wedding industry and no one is getting married? Really good question. Actually, some of my friends are in a wedding band. I used to be in a wedding band myself. And, it's a similar thing. Everyone in the industry is absolutely screwed at the moment. They can't do anything. And whether you're in weddings or live events or whatever. So, couple of things I'd suggest. This is marketing time, right? At the moment, you're not a full-time wedding photographer. You're not a full-time wedding band. You're a full-time wedding band marketer, okay? You've got nothing else to do, right? You can't plan. You can start taking some bookings, but it's really difficult. So this is marketing mode. This is pure marketing mode. What do we need to do to make ourselves the most visible and most authoritative people in the space in our area? Okay, so in the case of the wedding band, it's posting covers on YouTube. Let's get some visibility, because guess what? If you're able to charge whatever X in 2019 with 3,000 YouTube subs, well, if you could get to 500,000, a million, well, that means when restrictions lift, you've got much, much bigger visibility, increase those prices. Exactly the same for you, man. And so what can you do to boost your visibility? How can you create assets which, long after restrictions are lifted, are continuing to bring you in clients? Whether this is the guide to getting married, whether this is a guide to choosing a venue, you've got some time to put something incredible together, which can be an asset that's working really hard for you. So don't just think about its ROI this year. Think about creating something that when restrictions do lift and people get married, like people are going to get married, this is going to be a floodgates moment, right? For everyone who hasn't got divorced during lockdown, there's going to be a lot of people getting married after lockdown. So when the floodgates open, what can you greet them with? You want to be at the front of that queue with a really compelling offer and a really wide offering. So lots of different things that you can give people at various stages of their journey, answering all their different questions. So it's writing content, it's creating content assets, it's building up your visibility on social media, it's doing everything that you can that you've never had time to do. Okay, that's what it is. So do the 90-minute marketing master plan. There's going to be a whole ton of stuff in there that you can crack through, because I know that when it's wedding season again, and it might be wedding season every week for the next 2 years as after lockdown eases, then you're not going to have time to do any of that stuff. So get stuck in, man. And this is a great time for you. And also a great time because a lot of your competitors won't be proactive at all. They're going to be furloughing themselves. They're going to be asleep. Okay. Some of them will even give up and they'll quit, which is great. Okay. So this is big. This is big. Okay, let's look at this first website that was sent over then. So I don't know if you are here, whoever has shared this. This is Fortis Hosting. So if you want to visit the site yourself, you can do at fortishosting.net. So remember, we talked about the 5 elements. We talked about firstly, taking stock, setting goals. Secondly, conversion rate optimization. Third, organic visibility, competitor analysis. Fourth, paid traffic. And then 5th, prioritizing. So this site here is a hosting company. Now, all of us on this chat are customers, potential customers for a hosting business. So I want you to look at this site and think, what would make you choose this business over anybody else? Incredibly competitive market. Lots of us don't really know anything about hosting. And I would pretty much include myself in that. Despite our company offering hosting, we have people who do the hosting, but it's very difficult to differentiate a hosting offering unless you're able to communicate with the general website owning public who aren't experts in the technical side of things. So what would you what would make you buy from this business rather than anybody else? Now, it's a little bit of a trick question. Because actually I think there's not really anything about this business that makes it stand out at all, which is why this first day taking stock is really important. Because if you're driving traffic to a site like this, and it's a Me Too site, there's nothing really that differentiates it. It's just hosting. It's using the same words as everyone else. It's secure. They offer support. It's a private cloud, which some people know what that means. Some people don't. You can get domain names. Great. So in this case, it's pretty much GoDaddy, but less famous. Okay. So how do you differentiate? And this is really, really important. Now, I'm not going to be able to give you the answer to this because you need to think about where are your target customers? Can we differentiate by a particular service type? Can we differentiate by a particular website type? We help Magento customers optimize that. If you look at how WP Engine built themselves in the early days, optimizing WordPress sites for speed. We're the fastest WordPress site hosting. That was their thing. So that's how they differentiated. So I would challenge you to say, how are you going to differentiate this? And this is really important because this is one of those things that you can ignore this And we can all say, yeah, but we're just, it's the Dragon's Den thing, right? This is a £10 billion a month industry. All we need is 5% of that, and we'll be trillionaires by next year, Rodney. Well, it's easy to go that route and think that just by being Me Too is enough. But actually, it's really not, because if you're competing against GoDaddy and other recognized brands that offer the same thing, you're basically offering what they offer, but you're less well known. They're going to be able to massively outspend you on customer acquisition because they're going to have a higher conversion rate, better looking website, more defined sales process down the line, more experienced sales team. Everything about that broad offering is going to be, unfortunately, it's going to be easier for them to pitch than you to pitch. So we need to think about, we need to be clever. We need to pick out the things that they can't compete on. This might be 24/7 customer support. This might be you have the contact info of the leadership team, which you're never going to get in GoDaddy. If you're sick of going through to call centers who don't know what they're talking about, well, come to us because we're a smaller company. We're able to do X. This might be specializing in one particular area, which they're scared to do. So that's the thing I would focus on before any traffic, before even conversion rate optimization and calls to action. Think about, what can we offer here which makes a lot of sense to people? And if there's a customer with 3 options in front of them, when we explain our offering against other competitors, big established competitors, they go, well, we're going for you. This is a no-brainer. This is not simple. Tom says, looking at the Fortis site now, what are your green credentials? That's something we would care about as a customer. Great example. Could you offer carbon neutral or carbon negative hosting? Could you offer? Could you be a B Corp? I was introduced to the concept of B Corps this week. It's things like that where people wouldn't want to choose other businesses because they don't work, whatever. So yeah, that's a great idea. Great idea, Tom. Love that. We're also just going to talk about the question that Indri asked, which is a bit of a topic queue, but how would you recommend to rewatch all the plan? How often would you recommend to rewatch all of the plan? Because sometimes going through the process of setting your targets could change. Great question. When you're doing your digital marketing plan, we review the plan every 3 months. So you've got your 12-month goals, which don't change until you reach the end of the year. Or they might change if business changes, you launch a new thing or whatever. But really, the 12-month goals don't change. Your 3-month milestones are the stepping stones that you need to get to in order to get to that goal. So we set the 12-month goal, we'd set a 3-month milestone to begin with. When we get to that 3-month milestone, or just before we get to it, we say, okay, how are we doing? How's progress? How do we do against where we thought we'd be at this stage? What needs to change? But we'll also look at what is our priority list, because we need to now set another set of 3-month milestones. What do we need to do to get there? Are we behind schedule? Are we ahead of schedule? So actually we can increase our goals a bit. So that 3-month process is a really nice way of giving yourself enough time day to day to stick to the plan that you've created, but also without sticking to a plan that, after 2.5 months, you don't really believe it anymore. You're way off anyway, or you've way exceeded it. So the whole thing becomes pointless. So great question. And I would do it every 3 months. Okay. Tom says, we're a B Corp. Love it, Tom. Great. That's a great example, right? So how can you look at other ways, pick a particular segment? I think ethical, social, environmental, these are going to be big differentiators, and they're things that as small and medium-sized businesses is much easier to become compliant and to make that something that we're really proud of and that we really accentuate, rather than these larger companies, which it's going to be like turning around an ocean liner. To make GoDaddy a B Corp, they'd have to probably completely re-engineer their compensation structure, their everything, right? So that's going to be huge. Okay, so that's the first site, and do feel free to drop in your website if you'd like us to analyze it. So this is an example of a site where it's not really even a traffic conversation yet, not really a conversion optimization conversation yet, because they don't yet have that thing that makes them who they are. Great. Okay, next example of a site that has been sent over. Now, this is a really, really interesting one. This is an architecture firm, I think from Portugal, if I've got that right. Yes, Portugal. So this is called the takeaway sale. Okay, just to read you, this is their homepage. It says it's probably not for you. It's probably not your dream, and then not is crossed out. So curious, what does it mean? The text is all about, we know that this isn't for most people. This is for the special few. This is for the elite. Most people wouldn't dare. You know, it's a challenge sale, right? You're probably not bold enough. You're probably not daring enough. You're probably not successful enough to work with us. We have the guts to raise questions and help you see the big picture. So this is a great marketing approach to take in many situations. It's the takeaway sale. It's the, you know, it's a bit challenging. It's pushing people, but it's also it's also positioning the business in a way that when they do get a client, the client knows the deal. They know that Third Skin is going to challenge them. It's going to push them. It's going to, you know, go against the grain. So they're more likely to get their ideas accepted because they've both disqualified people who aren't up for that, but they've also prepared people for that scenario. We've used challenger sale, we've used takeaway sale in numerous occasions, and I can think of one very successful example where we're working with a dating agency, a very exclusive dating agency, and their website had always pitched, you know, sign up for our free meeting or whatever. And we wanted to take a completely different approach because this was supposed to be exclusive. If something's supposed to feel exclusive, you should be excluding people. So we changed it, we reconfigured the landing page to be more about, you're probably not right for us. But what we did was slightly different to the implementation here, because with this kind of exclusivity sale, it only works if there is massive credibility. Okay, so this exclusivity, the takeaway sale, works with massive credibility, and then you tell people like, this is awesome, this is great, this is amazing, and then you take it away. Okay, if you just take it away before you've established it's amazing, or before you've established the belief that it's amazing, it doesn't work. All you've got is someone in the street saying you can't buy from us, and people will just walk on. Okay, so the important thing is here, what we've done is we've copied the takeaway bit, but we haven't established the credibility up front. So with the dating agency example, what we did is we established a credibility. We showed all the publications that they've been featured in through our work, but that they've been featured in. We talked about some of the numbers behind the business. We talked about, you know, the features and why people chose, and the fact that they dealt with celebrities and hype, you know, all of that stuff to build massive credibility. And then we said, but it's probably not for you. So it's a slightly different implementation, and it looks like a subtle difference, but actually the results can be dramatically different. So my challenge to you here is, at the moment, you're just taking away. I know we mentioned it's Portugal's best architecture agency you may never have heard about. So there's other ways of doing this. So what I would suggest, firstly, it's not enough to say that people have, you know, we're the best that you've never heard about. That just says that we haven't been doing marketing. So what I would suggest instead is use this time to build credibility, use this time to build a following, and to establish yourselves as really, really fantastic high-end architects. What I would suggest is get your phone and follow, I think Gregory, there's two people I want you to follow in property. Firstly, Gregory Phillips, I think it's Gregory Phillips Architecture. Yes, Gregory Phillips Architects, okay, is the first one. Gregory Phillips Architects. And what you'll see them doing, firstly, your Instagram account, I've had a look at it. It's not as aesthetic as it needs to be. It needs to be 100% beauty because you're in that sort of space. Gregory Phillips Architects will, in fact, let me see if we can find it, so we can have a look together. There we go. Look at that. So as soon as you start, yeah, I mean, there we go. Right. So not a massive following. We got 46K followers, but for an architecture practice, a local architecture firm, it's massive enough. So it's images of their architecture. Now you'll notice that not all of these are photographs. They are 3D renders. So you could do this, okay? Even if you don't have loads of clients yet, you could do this. And what you're essentially doing is establishing yourself as a source of beautiful architecture imagery. You know the deal. It's the £1 million homes. It's the super interiors. It's that type of stuff, which is like Instagram crack. Okay. So first thing, if you do this, if you post loads of stuff using the right hashtags, reaching out to people, trying to get featured on these kind of aggregator pages, then you will build up an Instagram following, which is great. But the second thing is that then gives you huge leverage when they go onto your website and they say, we don't work with you. We're probably not a good fit for you, because they already want you massively. Okay, let's say that you're featured on TV, everyone sees you, this is amazing. Then they go on your website and they say, no, you can't even work with us. In fact, not only can you work, you can't work with us, but if you want to work with us, we're going to charge you a £10,000 non-refundable deposit to see if you even qualify, right? So if you've got, what you want to do is build up the leverage where you can pull off that sort of thing, because it's going to drive people absolutely crazy. We have this thing in us where when you take something away, we want it more. Buying a present for my bro yesterday, wanted to buy him a sick Lego Technic particular car, went online, found it, sold out. Right, next shop, found it, sold out. Now, what's going on in my head? This thing is sold out, really high demand. What does that make me want it? Way more, because now I can't get it. So now I'm absolutely obsessed about getting this thing. I'll pay over RRP. I want this thing because it's being taken away from me. So that's the takeaway sale at the moment. We're just doing the takeaway. So I would suggest this is not likely to be particularly effective. We need to build up some credibility first. Instagram would be a great way to do it, as would reaching out to publications, getting yourself featured so you can use some logos of publications, even just showing some images of the architecture work that you've done, or doing some example projects. If you're brand new, I don't know how the business is going, then get it in. Okay, so another example, that's a conversion rate optimization tweak, but it's also a traffic thing as well. Okay, Stephen, what's your web address? Have you popped it in? I can't see it. If you're going to put it in the chat, by the way, guys, remember that you don't put the dot in. Don't put dots in. I think sometimes you can, but you might want to add a space instead of dot, so that the chat windows don't think that you're a spammer, because they're probably quite cruel on that. And by the way, if you've got any questions, if you've got any feedback on any of the sites that we're looking at, then do drop them in the chat as well. So this next site is AAU Style, Eco-Friendly Living with Style. So feedback here, what do we think as a proposition? Is this ready for traffic? If it's ready for traffic, then what sorts of traffic do we think we should be driving to this site? If it's not ready for traffic, what are the tweaks that we would suggest on this site before we make those changes? Okay. Outdated branding and styling, says Manon. Oh, yes. Yeah, I'd agree. Totally. There's a danger with a site like this. I think that what's happened is they've probably, whether there's a drop shipping component or not, I'm not too sure, but the product imagery is different for every product, right? We've got some stuff which is like pixelated, looks absolutely terrible. We've got products above the fold here that are out of stock, which isn't usually a great thing. Takeaway sale, but not usually a great thing to do. We've got things that look very different. We've got very different product categories all lumped together. So a little bit confused. I would suggest there's probably a design element here, which is really important, but there's also probably a, who does our business actually serve? Eco-friendly. There are credentials that you might want to use. There are ways to demonstrate that you're eco-friendly. There might be some things that I think it can be tempting for those of us who aren't vegan and who don't make our choices purely based on eco-friendliness to think that it is a niche, and that all we need to do is stick eco-friendly at the top, and therefore they'll just come flooding. But actually, the audience is extremely educated and see through things almost immediately. So what we need to do is eco-friendliness needs to be built throughout the company. It needs to be built and demonstrated throughout the company if you're going to sell that as a USP. Whooping 25%. I think the word you're looking for is whopping. I haven't spotted that. Something else probably, isn't it? Yeah. So I think really it's a design thing that needs to be sorted here, really. That's going to be the first step. Okay, then we've got navigation. So people don't just type in eco-friendly products and buy everything in front of them. They still have a logical brain, right? So we buy through categories. If we need stuff for the home, we buy stuff in the home category. If we need stuff for our computer, then we buy stuff for the computer. What we don't, oh, to be fair, we've got style for home, but eco-friendly as a category is not a category, right? That is not a category. If I click on that, I'm guessing I'm just going to get a whole bunch of mashed up products from loads of different categories. Yeah. I mean, this as a category page is useless, if I'm going to be kind, because what's the chances of someone just, oh yeah, you know what, I was looking for some eco-friendly wooden puzzles, so let me just quickly buy that. And by the way, while I'm here, let's get a mini cross-shoulder bag. Just doesn't happen. So we need to think categories. And to me, I would also, yeah, Andy spotted the whooping as well. I would think about who actually the audience is. Don't start with everyone who's into eco-friendliness. Go to, right, we're going to help you set up the perfect eco-friendly home office or something like that. And then you can expand from there. At the moment, you're trying to compete with Amazon, but with eco-friendly at the start of each keyword, and it's going to be really, really difficult. So I would, I'm not a fan of niching long term. I think niching long term is just going to limit you, but to get started, to get traction, niche, and then grow out from there. Or niche if we've got anybody else as well. Okay, great. So we've got some other sites that have been submitted. So let's have a look at some of these as well. I want to, Stephen said, trialalchemy.com. Let's have a look at Trial Alchemy. So let's hear what your goals are for the year, Stephen, and we're going to talk about what have I done wrong. Trial Alchemy, right. Okay. Your goals for the year, and let's think about the big picture strategy. Where are we at in this 5-step process, and what sort of, let's think about traffic channels. Once we've got ourselves ready to drive traffic, what sort of traffic channels are we going to be focusing on? Okay, advanced superfoods. Okay, product imagery is pretty good. I would have a look at website layout. So design would be one of the first things I'd look at. Let's get this above the fold section sorted. Feel alive again. Higher potency, fast absorption, great results. Okay. It might be me. I might be stupid. I might be the wrong person. I'm not understanding what this is for. Are these like supplements? I think they're supplements. That one's going to give me a third eye. That'd be really, really useful. Okay, this looks pretty cool. I like the imagery. I think the products themselves look really good. Let me know what you think in the comments. Would you buy these products if you are the target customer for this? Would you buy these? For me, the labels look great. I think that's half the battle with this type of product, is making it look established, making it look really good and professional, which I think it does. I think each one has its own like design, its own design characteristics. I would work on the video here. To me, the video looks amateur, and that makes me concerned about the content of the product. So I would spend the money on a better video and get that addressed. I mean, it's better than nothing, but the danger is that this looks like something that people are doing at home and then selling in fancy bottles, which is not the impression that you want to give, and I don't think the accurate impression either. Okay. So would we buy from this? Let's let Stephen know. I've got to say, if I was, Mark says he would buy from this site. Okay, great. I'd say if I was into this, I would. I think probably 80% of the reason that I would be the look of the products. There's other things in here, like little subtle design cues, and maybe it's because I'm design oriented, because I spend my life doing this, but there's subtle design cues that maybe put me off a little bit, or maybe reduce some of my willingness to buy. So I think the fact that it looks slightly homemade, the video looks maybe like the products are homemade. I think, some of this stuff, it just doesn't feel like, if I went to Holland and Barrett for this type of product, I feel like that would be safe. And I think safe is one of the things that we need to get across. Manon says, if I knew what I needed and knew the brand from somewhere else or was recommended by someone. Okay, that's a really, really great piece of feedback, because what Manon's saying there is she's saying the 3 objections that she has. Okay, so firstly, if I knew what I needed. So she's saying that immediately she's not really necessarily getting the help to find the product that she needs. If I knew the brand from somewhere else, which means maybe the brand doesn't have enough credibility yet, so she'd need that to be fixed, or was recommended by someone, which is again kind of credibility / social proof. So those are great suggestions, man, and those would be the things that I'd be looking to overcome on this homepage immediately. Stephen says, I've been getting offers from serious investors and opportunity offers from larger companies, so it's looking promising. My challenge is the conversion rate. Okay, which ties in exactly with what Manon's just said there. It's credibility, it's the objection handling that people might have. If you sell to an investor now without demonstrated conversion rates, then you're going to get a much worse deal than if you can go to an investor with a sales growth curve that looks significant and a website that's converting at 4 or 5%. It's going to be a much more compelling offering. So I definitely put some time in there. So the challenge is helping people understand how much more potent these are in comparison to normal supplements and that they work faster. Great. Okay. So Tom says FAQs, and that could actually be an answer to this. So why should I choose X rather than Y? So this is almost, and let's just go back to your menu and let's have a look. Let's have a look at the Learn section. This is almost, okay. This is almost like a magazine site about these types of alternative. I don't know what we call them. It's a magazine site with information about all these things, right? So why medicinal mushrooms? That's a great question to ask. But what we want to do is create content around medicinal mushroom benefits. We want to talk about ways to overcome whatever things you can overcome, and obviously you've got to stay within the realms of what you're legally allowed to say and what you aren't. I don't know enough about the space to give you specific recommendations there, but you want to talk about the problems that this solves, so that when people are talking in alternative ways to fix hair loss or whatever we might be doing, ways to increase energy. Why am I feeling so tired? This is a content thing, right? This is establishing you in the business as an expert in fixing these problems, and here are the tools that you use to do it. So this is really important. This is the Learn section on the site. It becomes the main kind of piece of the website. If that's your main challenge, persuading people that these things are way more effective, then your content is how you do that. You talk about the stories, you talk about the experiences of people, you get testimonials in there from people that have said, rather than just a few drops a day will make you feel alive again. What about a picture of blah 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 from Romsey or whatever, saying, I've been taking a few drops a day for the last 6 months and I feel alive again. How much more compelling is that than you telling me this? Okay. So think about how you can have your customers say the things which are opinions, and you just stick to a lot of the reasons that people choose these products are X, Y, and Z. So we've got some other people saying some stuff here. So Alex says, I feel that it looks really crisp and clean to start, then gets a little messy as you scroll down. The font's clearer would be nice, and write the simplicity about it. Buyer's guide would be great too. Completely agree. Man says she agrees with that. And yeah, for me, I think you spent a lot of money on the product imagery, and that's great. And that's an investment that will pay off for years. And then you haven't spent a lot of money on the website design. You've probably built the site yourself, and I think it will be worth investing in a proper site. There's little, there are ways to build credibility. Some of them are subconscious. You land on a page, immediately you decide yes or no whether this is a credible business. We do it loads in a live seminar. I'll put a before and after of a professional website design on the screen. I'll ask people to say, which of these 2 businesses do you think has the best product? They all say, website B. Which of these has the best reviews? Website B. Which of these pays their people the most? Website B. All of these judgments that people are making, and it's purely just a professional website design that has shifted their mindset and got them thinking, this business is credible, these products are credible, this is amazing. So yeah, Yeah, Mark says, if this was an Amazon product, I would be straight to the reviews. So I'm concerned about trust and efficacy. Yes. So this is a great thing to do. If you think about why you wouldn't buy from a site, then it tells you what you need on that site in order to make you more likely to convert. So it seems to be credibility. It seems to be the reliability aspect, which we need to kind of really make, clear there. Okay, imagine the effect of having a recognizable celebrity or someone from Holland and Barrett endorsing this with either a sentence or a video. Yes, the best thing that you could do is get, I don't know, whoever the target audience is, but someone who is a celebrity to them. So it doesn't even have to be, Cal Vorderman or Alan Titchmarsh. They'd be off the chain, but someone who is a recognizable celebrity to your audience, and celebrity in inverted commas, someone who your audience's opinion they trust, and send them some product, get a testimonial from them. So I'll be sending this stuff out to influencers. And when you're sending it out to the influencers, you probably want to tell the influencers what they're going to expect when they take these products. So, we've sent you this because in this video, you mentioned that you feel tired and lethargic. Here are some of the things that our people find. Here are some of the things that our customers find. Here is some of the background behind the ingredients here. And we'd love to know what you think about it. And if and if they say, great, not everyone's going to say, let me just post an amazing testimonial. But if it makes a difference to some people and you can get some testimonials and then you can use them in your branding and you can create an ambassador relationship out of them, that's a great way of shortcutting credibility. Because going back to Manon's original thing, which is I'd buy this if someone recommended it. If we have someone that we follow on social or we follow, or that we know of, recommend it, shortcuts that credibility immediately. Okay. It's why Gusto taken off with Joe Wicks. Joe Wicks has an audience. Yes, that's one thing, but people trust his recommendation. And in a world where there's a million different meal boxes, recipe boxes, they stand out because Joe Wicks recommended them. Okay, he said he didn't. So Stephen said, I didn't spend any money on the labeling. You've done everything yourself and your wife as well. Okay, well, I think those are great looking products. You've done a really good job of the packaging, I think. So that's great. I would spend a bit of money on the website. Okay. Heap Mentor says, I wouldn't have added DNA in there. It makes me not trust it. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, what else? We got loads and loads of feedback with this. This is great. Slight design disconnection, which makes me subconsciously distrust it. And that's the thing about design. People won't tell you that your website looks terrible. They just won't buy. Okay. Because often we don't realize until it's pointed out, like subconsciously distrust. That is, she's nailed it. That is exactly the effect that good professional design has on people. Okay. Yeah. So great. So we got loads and loads of stuff here. This is really good feedback. They just leave without conversion. Absolutely. Yeah. Exactly. And that's the thing. If you don't give me a reason to trust you, I won't trust you. Okay, so loads of feedback for that one. That was really useful. Thanks, everyone. And I hope you've got a lot from that, Stephen. This is tons of opportunity there. Tons of opportunity. Great. So let's get the next site up there. I'm just going to scroll around until I randomly find one. A2zwatchrepair.co.uk. Let's give that one a go. A2Z Watch Repair. If we're in the US, of course, I would have pronounced it A to Z Watch Repair. Okay, so hidden people, what are we thinking? What are we thinking about this? Oh, and then we'll do you in a second, Hamza. Okay, A to Z Watch Repairs, what are we thinking? A to Z Watch and Jewelry Repairs. Okay, some capitalization there. Like this is going back to these little subconscious tells. Only takes, with something like this, where I might be sending a thousands of pound watch or piece of jewelry off to you, trust is massive, absolutely massive. And it can only be lost, right? It can only be lost. So little things like this, where it's like a little bit inconsistent capitalization there, just makes me less likely to trust. Heat Mentor says, screams WordPress, but it's nice. I'm a developer and I started with WordPress too, lol. Yes, well, you can build a very high converting website in WordPress. We've got sites that convert 14, 15, up to 40% in WordPress. So absolutely no problem there. But I know what you're saying. It feels very kind of template based, which is one of the challenges with WordPress. It's kind of freeing yourself from all of the theme forest templates and making something which feels you and is designed to convert as well. You love to wear it. We repair it. Watch repairs. Okay, so for me, credibility is massive here, and I think there's some spelling, grammar checking, that type of thing. Right. Okay. Manners good. We love your feedback, Manners. So she said, I would put the first photo as a person fixing the watch where you can see their face. Absolutely. Because what we've got here, a lot of your competitors are going to be faceless as well. So building credibility, one of the fastest ways you can build credibility is a bit like this session here. You can see my face. Probably Exposure Ninja you have a different mental relationship with to other digital marketing agencies that say they offer the same thing. And it's the personality piece which allows you to shortcut that. You build a relationship with the person. Now that's an extreme example. I'm not saying you need to be fixing people's watches from 10:30 to 11:30 every Friday on YouTube/Exposure Ninja. But adding a bit of you in there would really help and make this feel more like, a kind of person thing. I think design really important. Hamza's absolutely right. There's no credibility signs so far at all. This is not just a credibility thing because I'd be scared of just sending my stuff off into the ether. This is also a credibility thing because there are going to be loads of different businesses to choose from. If I don't know anything about watch and jewelry repair, we need to find those things that make me say, right, I'm going to choose you rather than other people because X, right? And X can be anything. So it might be that, we guarantee our repairs for a year, or we guarantee our repairs for 2 years, or whatever. And all you need is a story, a little hook that you can use. John Lewis, Never Knowingly Undersold. I know they're about to drop it, but Never Knowingly Undersold is great because when you're choosing between John Lewis or Debenhams, we know that you're not going to pay more at John Lewis than you could get it for elsewhere. So that's like the little hook. When people are unsure, when they're, they don't know how to buy the thing, which in many cases people won't, you only need one thing which stands out for you against others. Credibility is going to be one. If this was the jewelry repair shop trusted by X, Y, and Z, then that might be one. If this was the jewelry repair shop run by someone who's really passionate about jewelry and they're obsessed and, we've fixed X number of million watches or, whatever, then that's the thing. But there needs to be a thing. There needs to be a reason why people should trust you. Okay, let's have a look at this video. Okay, I can't read the text because there's two colors. That might be my stupid eyes, but I can't read it. Okay, could be better. Could be better. I'd invest a little bit of money in a video. Okay. All right, process looks pretty straightforward. Everything looks to be reasonable. Can we get the pictures of these people if possible? These are great. If we can have them hosted on third-party sites, even more credibility because they're less likely to be faked. Could we have a picture of their, of their jewelry or whatever? So, what we're looking for is evidence that these aren't fake, which would be quite important. So I think that's the thing I would do. And then as for traffic generation, pay-per-click ads, it's Google ads, I would think, particularly if you're the other thing I would think about with scaling a business like this is, yes, you're nationwide. And I think the mistake that some people will make is they will try to go completely nationwide. And they will say, right, we can work online, so we don't have to, limit our target audience radius. But what I think you will find is if you put your location on the page, and when you're getting started, if you run your ads targeting, say, Glasgow, targeting a particular radius around the business, you'll find you get a much higher conversion rate because that thing is trust. If I've got to choose between you and someone else who's nationwide and it's a faceless thing and I'm sending it to Birmingham, slightly reduced trust. If I'm just sending it 5 miles away and you're on the outskirts of Glasgow, I'm going to trust you more. No logical reason. I'm not going to drive over there and beat you up if you steal my thing, but it's just a way of building a bit more rapport, isn't it? So I'd maybe start on, okay, so Tom says we focus on Scotland. Great. So let's get that in here. Scotland's own jewelry and watch repair service or something like that. A little Scottish flag somewhere so that when people come onto the site and they're from Scotland, they're like, right, cool. This is a bit more for me than the competitors. Tom says conversion rates are really strong. Okay, great. If conversion rates are really strong, then On bike really strong, let us know in the comments if you're comfortable what your conversion rate is to the repair contact form. If conversion rates are strong, two things. Either you're not driving enough cold traffic, in which case crank up the ads, get more organic coming in, get more content on the site, bringing in informational organic search. So high conversion rates can also mean that you're just generally not driving enough traffic. But the other thing can be if your conversion rate is say 10%, well, you never know. For something like this, your conversion rate might need to be 30% in order for you to compete nationally on target keywords. It's going to be competitive that 70% of inquiries convert. Okay, fine. So this is all about increasing the number of inquiries. And increasing the number of inquiries will also, that starts right here. So from the moment they click on repair contact form, we are in the process of it, converting that inquiry. So credibility on this page, testimonials, that type of thing, really important. Yeah, loads of potential with this though, Tom. Really good start. I'd consider professional website design. That seems to be the theme today. Then Google Ads would be the first thing I'd go for, but I'd also start targeting local organic search. And to target local organic search, I would be creating locally targeted pages around Glasgow. Okay. But yeah, loads of stuff there. Right, Hamza, we're gonna do you. Trust me, mate. So I want to do Hamza before we break. So on moroccotours.com. Okay, so you are in the. I want to make sure I spell Morocco Tours. It's got it done by a designer. Lol. Sorry, Tom. Sorry. Well, I'm not sorry, actually. I'm sorry to designer. You get what you pay for with design. This is the savage thing. Okay. Okay, on Morocco Tours, this is Hamza's site. Let's see what we would do here. So obviously you're going to be in preparation mode, Hamza, for the floodgates to open and people to be heading right back to Morocco. This looks good, looks pretty strong. Good looking site. I think maybe the logo design could do a little bit of work. This is one of those things, right? That I noticed this with the tradesmen. When I first started building websites as a tradesman, and there are some industries where a little bit of personality, and by personality I mean a little bit of not being completely flawless, can actually increase conversion rates. So on Morocco Tours, the logo does look a little bit amateur, so I'd fix that, but I wouldn't make it look too corporate, because I know you. And I know that your USP is that you're not a big holiday company. You're not, you're a legit Morocco tour guide, aren't you? So that's what we need to get across. And that'll be the thing I would challenge you with, is on the About Us, we probably learn a bit about you. But I think we could actually meet you. Right, you're experienced travel agent. Okay, let's understand a bit more about this. Okay, your guides and drivers are local Berbers and nomads. Let's get you on the homepage. Hi, I'm Hamza. I go to Exposure Ninja webinars, so I'm freaking awesome. Here's my background, that type of stuff. Let's get you on this homepage because that's something you've got, which a lot of the businesses that you're competing against organically won't have. For now, it's all going to be about building organic search focus content. So building day tour trip guides, writing out guides. I think you've got loads of photos. We built Desert Majesty, didn't we? So I think that's the other business that you've got. So you've got loads of pictures of different stuff. So I would write detailed descriptions of all the tours that you do, really detailed. And I mean, the ultimate guide to, tours around Marrakech, and it might be 10,000 words long, if you can, with loads of pictures. So I would be really focused on everything that you possibly can to build organic assets, so that when someone types in holiday to Morocco, here comes the On Morocco Tours ultimate guide to holiday in Morocco, and it's a massive section on the site. Let's have a look at your travel guides before I rip into this too much. Top 10 things not to do in Marrakech. Okay, that's fine. Let's think about what people are going to be searching for. They're probably not going to be searching for things not to do. They're going to be searching for things to do. but these are approximately okay. I'd probably go a little bit more niche. Okay, so Morocco is like your top level, and then I'd start writing guides for Marrakech, Casablanca, Fez, Orzazate, and Agadir. I'd start writing specific guides about those. So go more niche, probably unlikely to get Morocco, ultimate guide to travel in Morocco ranked, but you might be able to get ultimate guide to Marrakesh desert tours or something like that ranked, which actually might be a better customer for you anyway as well. Heat Mentor says, should the business owners build trust by YouTube instead? What are the pros and cons about this approach? Great question. So the pros are that it's really easy to build rapport with someone over video if you're good on video. The cons are it's extremely annoying to have to build out video capability if you don't have it, and not everyone is great on video. I will be completely honest. So that's the thing. If you can do it, great thing to do. If you can't, that's absolutely fine. Don't feel that just because you're not running, YouTube channels, you're not going to build credibility. You absolutely can. And you can build credibility through writing, if that's your thing. You can build it through audio. You can build it through, whatever. But if video is your thing, then absolutely you should do it, because it is a very quick way. It's the closest to in person because they can see and hear you. It's the kind of quickest way to do it. Okay. Mark says, different customers will want something different from your tour. Motorcycle adventure riders want to explore the mountains and sleep in tents. Others might want to shop the bazaars, explore this. Boom! Love that. So we've got different types of travel guide for different types of people. So just to give you a kind of illustration of what this kind of picture is going to look like. So we're going to start off with if you imagine, this is called a fishbone approach, right? So you imagine the ultimate guide to Marrakech, the ultimate guide to day tours in Marrakech, right? And then off this, you're going to have different sections. So best shopping things to do in Marrakech, best mountain things to do in Marrakech, best bike tours in Marrakech. And what these will be is these will be subsections in this main article. But then you'll also write out detailed posts about each of these, which are going to be really long and that you're going to add to over time. And then what you'll find happens is that each of these individual posts starts ranking, but because they're feeding into this long kind of category post, if you like, that category post starts picking up ranking for the most competitive terms. So you're building out a huge library of information, basically. Manon says, more photos of people's faces. Agree with that. Manon says, landscape is great, but if I'm looking for tours, I already know roughly what it looks like. I want to see happy people having a good time. Love it, Manon. If you ever think about a job in marketing, then... Right, great. So, is using best in titles seen as spammy by Google? No, Tom. Surely no. No. I mean, actually, one of the sites that we didn't get to, but, a business like this, for example, so this is a VoIP service. We're going to finish shortly because we've run out of time, but a VoIP, something like this will be trying to rank for best VoIP service, which is it's an informational search, but it's with commercial intent. Okay. Informational search with commercial intent. Sorry, you just had to hear me drinking. So that means that people are searching for information, but they're searching because they want to make a commercial decision. No one searches for best VoIP service because they are, they want to get a plaque engraved with the top 10. They're searching because they want one, right? But you'll find that it's content pages rather, that rank for these terms. So actually, it's a really legitimate strategy, particularly if you're trying to compete for stuff like this, and you will have to use it in your page titles and in your H1s. I think we see actually that the top, just trying to look for an actual VoIP provider. Yeah, so Yay, there we go. So Yay actually uses, they used it in their page title, but not in their actual page. So they could probably improve their ranking if they did that. But yeah, no, absolutely no problem with doing that at all. Okay, great. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. We're going to come back next. Oh, I'm really sorry, Mark. We didn't get to do CF1, but we will do it next week. So if you've got any other sites, drop them in the channel and we will, I'll put them in the to-do list and we will try to get through them next week. Same time next week, so 10:30 till 11:30 on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. By the way, if you haven't already requested a free website and marketing review from Exposure Ninja, then you can do that at exposureninja.com/review. exposureninja.com/review. What will happen when you go to that page, you will get a questionnaire which asks you a few questions about your business and your goals. And you'll fill those in and you'll send them off to us. And one of our team will record you a 30-minute video, 15 to 30 minutes, showing you the things that you need to do to increase your leads and sales through the site over the next 12 months. So basically what I've been doing here, but all focused on you. So go to exposureninja.com. It's completely free to request this. Totally awesome. So go and make sure you do that now. And also make sure that you're subscribed to our YouTube channel and you're following us on LinkedIn and following us on Facebook. We'll be here every week. I'm going to say we'll be here every week at this time for the rest of the year. I'm sure there's going to be a time when we're not, but until further notice, we'll be here every week. So thank you everyone for tuning in. See you soon. I hope you have a good week and I hope you have a great start to 2021. This is going to be an unbelievable year. Remember, when things change, when things shake up, I think of it as shaking a snow globe. The entrepreneurial, the positive, the enthusiastic get to decide where the snowflakes fall. Okay, so as people that are optimistic and hardworking and energetic and driving, we love chaos, we love change because it shakes things up. Our competitors scurry in fear, they hibernate, they hold down, they retract, they go back. We go forward, we move forward, we push and we win. So this is a great opportunity for all of us. The chaos that 2021 is starting with, well, if it's like this all year, we will be absolutely fine because we've got plenty of stuff to do on our to-do list. So thank you everyone for tuning in and I'll see you next week.